First of all, thank you everyone for taking time out of your day to join us this morning. We really appreciate it. We appreciate your business and we look forward to continuing to support you. We're very excited today to formally share sort of the growing partnership that we're developing with Eagle Eye. Today covering Alibi's offering of the Eagle Eye VMS product. So welcome. Next slide, Bryce. My name is George Farley. I run marketing here at Alibi. Bryce Brendan will be presenting for us today as well. He is our Director of Cloud Technologies at Alibi. Basically, everything Eagle Eye, everything Alibi Cloud VS and Brevo. Bryce is our specialist, and his team helps to support you. And then Matt Callia has joined us. He's our Strategic Account Manager at Eagle Eye. He supports our partnership there, and he helps support Bryce and team on the sales side. So thanks for joining us, Matt. We've got a lot to cover today, so I'm going to try to be super quick, and we're going to get to the meat of this, which is really focused on VMS and sharing with you the features and capabilities of the VMS platform. First, I'll touch on the partnership. I'll talk about the program that we've built around this partnership to serve you. Bryce will talk about our two platforms. As you know, we offer a cloud platform called Alibi Cloud VS. Now we're introducing Eagle Eye VMS, and they both have a real strategic purpose for us. Then Bryce will walk through some of the features and capabilities of VMS, and he'll share a live demo. Oh, sorry, before that, Matt's going to share a little bit about Eagle Eye, the company, just give you a quick background so you understand both the breadth and the capability of the product and the solution. Next, we'll walk into integration partners. Super important to take advantage of many of the integrations that Eagle Eye is developing. Their ecosystem gives you a ton of capabilities. We'll walk through the RMR opportunities. And then at the end, I'll walk you through the application process. Very, very simple process that we've pulled together to help activate you quickly. And finally, at the end, we'll talk about what next, right? How to take advantage of this, future trainings, our presence at ISC. And before we move from the slide, Bryce, I wanted to mention, if you do have questions, there's a Q&A feature that you can access at the bottom of your screen. Please use that to share questions. We've got a lot to cover, so we'll try to touch on those. If we don't during the presentation, we will follow up with you directly. We'll also capture these as FAQs that we'll present both on our website and in a follow-up email to this entire group. So we call this a partnership because it truly is that. It's not just Alibi reselling Eagle Eye solutions, right? We've partnered pretty deeply to bring you what we consider the best of both worlds, right? So unlimited access to Eagle Eye solutions and their entire support team. And I'll go through that in a second. Plus, right, you're supported by Alibi directly. So you have access to your dedicated account managers, our field sales team, our solution specialists, and our marketing tools to help you grow. Let's go on to the next one, Bryce, because that gets a little more detailed. So we call the program Eagle Eye Accelerate. And the reason we do that, very similar to many of you are probably familiar with Brevo. We've launched a partnership with them as well. And we've got a program called Accelerate, and it's designed to help you grow, right? So to give you all the support you need to grow this new category for your business. For Eagle Eye Accelerate, on the left-hand side of the screen, you'll see from Eagle Eye, right, you have unlimited access to their comprehensive line of products, their subscription stack, their service stack, including implementation services, training services, things like that. You also have comparable pricing. So when I say comparable pricing, you buy from Alibi at the exact same price you would purchase that product from Eagle Eye directly, right? There's no difference. We work on this together. We stay up to date with each other. Basically, we don't want to create an advantage or a disadvantage doing business with Eagle Eye or Alibi. And then you have direct access to all of Eagle Eye's content, their training through Eagle Eye University, their technical support teams, their implementation teams. Eagle Eye will support you as if you were a direct dealer of Eagle Eye, right? That's the partnership. Additionally, from Alibi, you'll continue to work directly through your dedicated account manager, right? And leverage Bryce and his team for specific questions around the VMS solution. And of course, we've got our sales and marketing tools, right? Everything that we produce, we try to brand for you. Our goal is to help build your brand and grow your business. So we've got a developing toolkit, we've got resources, we've got microsites, we've got all those things that are really required to help build that category for you, turnkey, available to you today. Next slide, Bryce. I'll hand this over to Bryce.
Thank you, George. Good morning, everybody. Yeah, we're pretty excited about this one, to George's point. So, we've been running at Opportunities actually for the past couple of weeks with a lot of success. And one of the questions we would get asked over and over is, hey, Alibi already has a cloud solution. So what's the angle of working with Eagle Eye, right? So wanted to start out with just a real quick explanation of kind of the main differences between VS and the Eagle Eye VMS. So think of VS as really your go-to solution if the customer just wants to record video, put it up into the cloud, make it easy to grab, keep it scalable. Cloud VS is great. It's a really cost-effective solution for those customers that want to get into the cloud, but maybe don't have really, advanced requirements from a feature standpoint, right? So Cloud VS is not going anywhere. And that's who you would really want to focus on for VS, right? Now, the VMS, and this is one of the biggest reasons we're so excited about it, is it's going to help you cast a significantly wider net and just get that many more people to the cloud. And much of this webinar will be dedicated to showing you the how of that, right? But just from a high level, like if you have projects that require, higher resolution requirements, maybe local recording in addition to cloud, advanced AI features, just to name a few, right? Eagle Eye is going to give you a pathway to those, and it's just going to help you go after a significantly wider range of projects for cloud specifically. So I wanted to start out by making sure that that's crystal clear, right? Now, I actually want to, I could talk about Eagle Eye as a company, but we might as well have the actual expert on it go over that, right? So I want to reintroduce Matt to cover the next couple slides on Eagle Eye. Matt, you want to go ahead?
Yes, sir. Good morning, everybody. Bryce, you can go ahead and go to the next slide for me. All right, so a little bit about why Eagle Eye exists as a company. So we were founded in 2012 by a gentleman named Dean Draco, who is the former creator of a company called Barracuda Networks. Some of you may be familiar with that. In the IT space, Dean essentially pioneered on-site spam filtering appliances. When he was with Barracuda, he had a lot of different offices all around the world and wanted to be able to make sure that his employees were showing up on time and answering the phones when they called in. So part of that and his reasoning behind this fanatical customer service kind of mindset was making sure that when folks did call in, they weren't speaking to a phone tree or some robot trying to explain whatever kind of issues that they had. No press 1 to speak to sales, no press 2 to speak to technical support. It was always, hi, thank you for calling Barracuda. How can I direct your call? Right? A real live person always answering the phone. So for him to assure that, he had to make sure that his employees were showing up on time. And NVRs and DVRs of yesteryear, even some still to this very day, require you to open up inbound ports to be able to view those devices from offsite. That is a cybersecurity risk. And so Dean, knowing that there was no other solution on the market that could offer him a cyber secure way to manage his video from offsite, decided to create his own solution, right? How can I effectively manage every single one of my locations from around the world on a singular pane of glass? So when Barracuda went public, Dean said, cool, I'm going to do this Eagle Eye thing now full time. So since 2012, we've been in existence, headquartered right here in Austin, Texas, which is where our manufacturing is as well. We do have a global presence outside of the US with data centers that we are running and racking and stacking these data centers ourselves as well. We are not at the mercy of a third-party cloud service to store any of our video data. We're doing it the hard way, but we're doing it the right way. Okay. All of the head-end equipment, as I mentioned, is manufactured here in the US. I touched on the self-hosted cloud portion here about us not being at the mercy of an AWS, Google Cloud, Microsoft Azure, none of those guys. These are Eagle Eye data centers that we're building all the servers for right here in Austin, Texas. We're purpose-built for the cloud from the ground up for video surveillance and AI. All of the GPUs that we are putting in these data centers, these are all Eagle Eye products. Okay. We were not designed to be an on-premise NVR or DVR system with some cloud aspects later sprinkled on, right? We were designed from the very beginning to store 100% of your customer's video data off-site, because that is the safest place that they can keep that video, right? If there's a smash and grab or a fire or a device fails, you lose all that video data with an old school system. With Eagle Eye, we have it up until the moment of destruction. We've got video, right? We're also an open platform, right? We have what's called an open API, meaning we allow integration partners to utilize our API and ingest Eagle Eye's video into their platform. All right, we do not charge anybody to use that API. They have the ability to take that video, ingest it into their platform, and we will sign off on that partnership with them. We are also camera agnostic. Some people say camera flexible. I like to say agnostic because we really don't care that much what kind of cameras you're using, as long as they are not proprietary cameras. Okay. What I mean by proprietary, the Verkatas of the world, the Meraki's of the world that are not putting out an on-VIF beacon, we want to make sure that it is a manufactured camera that supports on-VIF protocol, and would essentially allow us to pull that IP video into the Eagle Eye VMS. We will also work with analog cameras as well. So if you have customers out there that do not have the budget to rip and replace their old school coaxial cameras or run new Cat 6 in their building, what you can do is take those analog cameras, throw them in the Eagle Eye Cloud VMS so that you bring them into the 21st century. And then maybe a year later, when they do have some more budget, you can sell them some new IP cameras. The whole purpose of this solution is to make you stickier with your customers, give you a reason to call them back soon, right? And then I also touched on the cybersecurity of Eagle Eye. No open inbound ports. All video data is encrypted, both in transit and at rest, whether it's being stored locally on one of our devices that Bryce is going to talk about, or in the Eagle Eye cloud. So we are a proven and trusted partner. We are the original cloud video surveillance provider, right? Whether there are different verticals that your company goes after specifically, there are really no limits to the types of customers that you can go after with Eagle Eye. Whether it's multifamily, manufacturing facilities, warehousing, logistics, hotels, hospitality, different types of restaurant chains and franchises, gyms, small businesses, office spaces, you name it. There is no limit to who you can go after with Eagle Eye. Bryce, I'll turn it back over to you, sir.
Yeah, thank you, Matt. Appreciate it. So let's get into the nitty-gritty a little bit, right? So let's talk about how the system is actually designed, and then from there, kind of what we get from that, right? So the basic premise from Eagle Eye is you are going to get the cameras to the cloud in one way or the other, right? So we're going to talk about, there's actually 3 ways you can achieve this. You can do it with what's called a bridge device, a CMVR device, or you can do it direct without either, just like you would if any of you have sold Cloud BS, same concept, right? So there's a pretty extreme amount of flexibility when it comes to the VMS, and any mix and match that you create for a particular customer will come back to the actual login screen, right? So if you've got 30 on the CMVR here and maybe one way out at the gate, combined with a Brevo system out there at the gate, right? Wherever you put it up, you can tie it back to one place. Matt mentioned camera flexibility, right? So this is a major advantage. A lot of cloud technology, you have to sell a proprietary camera, or at least a camera that has been kind of onboarded and configured to be cloud, right? So that can be limiting if you're going after, let's say, retrofits, which on the Eye VMS is actually a massive opportunity. So to Matt's point, as long as it's not a proprietary camera, very good chance we're going to be able to work with it. And I'm going to go ahead and put a little plug in here for demo systems. If you want to reach out to your account manager and get a demo system, you can start actually putting on kind of what your run rate cameras are, whatever brand they are. If they haven't already been onboarded by the Eagle Eye team, you literally go in through the software, click a request button that will send it to their team, and they'll begin onboarding it. So any cameras you want to play with and get online, go for it. Really easy to do with the demo system. Okay, so now the devices that can actually get the camera feeds to the cloud, right, and kind of give you the good stuff. So the first one, which is kind of the I don't want to say legacy, but kind of the workhorse of Eagle Eye, right? The bridge models. They are exactly what they sound like. They are the bridge from your cameras to the cloud. These are going to provide not just the connection to the cloud, but also a buffer. So this is a big advantage, right? So if and when your customer loses internet, you will still have something on that bridge that will get pushed back up to the cloud once that connection is reestablished. And most bridges will give you about 2 days of backup there. Also, you can use this buffer for customers that may have concerns around their bandwidth usage during the day, right? So instead of having that feed go directly to the cloud, let's say for a school, right? All day long, if we're sending data, that could be problematic. However, you could actually schedule times of the day where you want to be using that data. And probably goes without saying, but bunch of different sizes for these bridges, anything from 20 cameras up to 300, lots of different options, and whatever mix and match you create doesn't really matter. Now, CMVRs, I'll tell you, these have been really popular for us in the past couple of weeks. This is the exact same concept as a bridge, so you can still take over any cameras you want. You still get all the cloud connection and the AI that we'll talk about in a second. However, you are not forcing the customer to make the primary location of their recording the cloud, which means they really don't have to pay for that cloud storage if they don't want to. Now, there's a minimum subscription that is very cost effective when you go with the CMVR, and what it'll do is it will actually record locally primarily, but still give you and your customers the ability to dial in remotely and view all that data as if it were a bridge or a direct camera. So this is also really, really nice if you have bandwidth conscious customers that are like, hey, I need high resolution. I think of the example of a car wash chain we were talking to a couple weeks back. They're like, hey, we love the concept of cloud. We love the multi-site management and the AI. We love it, but we got to have 8 megapixel, right? Because we're looking for scratches on a car. And if you send 8 megapixel over the network, it's going to be a lot, right? And you're going to have to pay a decent amount for that storage. But you go at them with a CMVR, hey, let's record that high resolution locally. You can back up whatever you want to the cloud at any resolution you want, right? Doesn't really matter. And you can kind of create that hybrid environment that we get a lot of requests for on our side. So with those 3 options, you can pretty much design a system for a customer based on their whatever environment they have. Also to mention, Eagle Eye brand PoE switches, super valuable. There's nothing about these that make these cost prohibitive whatsoever. They work with the Eagle Eye VMS software. So you can actually pull them up right next to your cameras and manage them from there. You can do power cycles, you can reboot anything maybe an IT guy may want to do with that switch, he can do directly from the Eagle Eye software. So pretty slick. And then obviously, as you would imagine, right, everything has a mobile experience. I will say the VMS's mobile experience is very, very clean. We'll go over some of the advanced analytic features and how you can actually do that both on the mobile and on the web-based application. Another thing I wanted to mention is the ability to capture a GPS location of a camera. This is going to be important when we start talking about a couple of other features later, like 911 camera sharing. But you can actually use this to say, hey, this camera, this is its exact latitude and longitude, and you can plot it on a map, which is super valuable, which we'll talk about in just a second. And for any of you that are selling BS and are limited to one live view at a time, just know that Eagle Eye, you can multi-view, which is great. So the architecture wise in the back end is very similar, right? So you're going to have your retention period anywhere from 7 days up to 5 years, believe it or not, you can go that long. And megapixels, you can go anywhere from 1 to 10. So with Cloud VS, we're limited to 4, right? So you've got a lot more options. I do want to mention the flexibility of the VMS. You can pick and choose what cameras are on what plans. Okay. So let's say you have a customer, 10 cameras, only 2 of those need to be backed up for 90 days. The other, they don't really care. They're okay with 7. You've got the ability to do that. So Eagle Eye has also done a really good job of coming up with, the ability to really deploy cameras anywhere, honestly, regardless of the infrastructure. This is something we get a lot of demand for, for construction sites or remote locations. But Eagle Eye has come up with something called their cabinet systems. So there's 3 different kinds of these systems. The goal of each is, let's put in a standalone unit that is capable of giving everything the customer would want on the BMS, just in that self-contained unit. So the unit we're looking at right now, this guy, you would just connect to power. There's a cell modem within the box there that actually will be managed by Eagle Eye, so you don't even have to manage the cellular plan. So literally, as a dealer, you go sell this, connect it to power, and then you're done. Link it to the account and move on. There's also options for solar. So let's say you don't have a power connection, right? That's fine. Just get the anywhere cabinet, put a solar panel on there. If you're north of, Oklahoma, put 2 panels up there instead of 1, just because you're not going to get as much sunlight, right? But you completely have the ability to go put this self-contained unit up on solar power, on cellular, and sell 2 or 3 SKUs to achieve that. It's really, really clean.
Hey, Bryce,
Yes, sir.
I had a question come along, and I thought it's worth asking here.
Sure.
The question was, how many cameras can be used on the exterior camera boxes, so on the cabinet systems?
Great question. Yeah. So there's 3 kinds of boxes. If you're going with the anywhere one with the solar, you want to stay with just 1 camera per box. If you're going with this box here, where you're connecting it via power connection, you're still going to want to stick to 1. If you want to go above 1, there's a third option that actually has a CMVR inside of the chassis here, and you can go up to 7 cameras with the CMVR. The limitation there, Matt, correct me if I'm wrong, if you're going with the CMVR option, that is not available on solar, because that would be too much of a power draw, right? So if you're going to go solar, stick to 1 camera per box. If you have power, you can go up to 7 with that larger box.
That's correct.
Hey, there was one follow-up question on this. For the camera system, or for the cabinet system, can you use on one job site and then take it with you to the next?
Oh yeah, absolutely. So the great part about the cloud connection, right, is it doesn't really care where that thing is located as long as it has connection to the network via cellular, right? So as a dealer, you don't really have to change anything about it other than making sure it's still connected, and then you're good to go. So like what a lot of our guys do will, a lot of people are like leasing these kinds of technologies, and you may move it from customer to customer based on, let's say, like new construction for a builder or something like that, right? So when you're done with that project, pick it up, move it across town, plug it in, and then you're good to go. Good questions. So we want to talk about some of the smart AI stuff. I'm going to go through this pretty quick because I want to actually show you what it looks like. But from a high level, just know Eagle Eye is really, really good at building in cloud AI and making it camera agnostic. So smart video search, this is one of those wow factor features that really get, your customers to kind of perk their ears up and take a look at what you're saying. You can search, not as advanced as a Google engine, but similar to a Google engine, right? Based on a number of search terms, and say, instead of going back and looking through, let's say, a generic motion tag, or even let's say like a person detection, that can still leave you or the customer with quite a bit of time of digging through, stuff you don't care about, right? The smart video search has become popular regardless of any industry you're working with, because no matter who the heck you're working with, you will save them time 100% on their incident management with smart video search. So I'm going to show this to you, but just know from a high level, this is included on every single camera that you sell on the VMS. It's not an additional charge, and you can search by quite a few different criteria, whether it's, gender, clothing color, vehicle, make, model, right? Suitcases, handbags, backpacks. So we'll go over that in just a second. I'll also show you the LPR package. We don't need to go, I think, fully in depth on this because you all understand LPR and when to sell it. But the point we want to make here is if you get those RFPs for a cloud project and they're requiring LPR, you have a pathway to that very easily. And we'll show off some whitelisting features you can do as well. So I'm going to move on here. So this feature, we kind of hinted at this a little bit, right? By saying you could plot the cameras on their GPS location. So why is that important, right? Well, there's a feature that Eagle Eye rolled out. I believe they're still the only company in the world that's doing something like this. You can actually choose to have your cameras shared with an emergency response center in the event of an emergency, or someone makes a 911 call within a certain perimeter of your cameras. So think about like a school, for example, right? How do you make the resources that are going to be deployed to stop an emergency much more effective? You're going to give them video. Okay. So the major difference here is instead of the emergency response center calling the police and saying, hey, we think he's in the west wing of the building, they've got those camera feeds. They're saying, hey, he's in the stairwell outside the art room. There he is. And then they're sitting there and they're watching him throughout the building, right? So really, really powerful. Really good foot in the door. If you have any schools that you're looking to go after, really awesome way to start the conversation. Now, when you go to implement this, the emergency response centers, the vast majority of them in the United States have the capabilities to support this feature. That doesn't mean they all have been onboarded already, right? So like there's a lot that have been, but if you're going to go pitch this, what we would encourage you to do is share the address or at minimum the zip code with us so that we can get an understanding of if there's a facility in your area we can already work with. If not, the Eagle Eye team is going to actually partner with us and with you to go to that facility and make sure that they can support it. So just a little heads up there. If you're planning on selling this, just work with us a little bit on that. It's pretty smooth, but really, really awesome feature to get in front of not just schools, but retail, government buildings. I mean, it's a really, really awesome solution, and it's very cost effective. So I'm going to briefly pop over to the AI because I thought it would have been criminal if we didn't show this to you at least, and just how powerful it is. So this is the Eagle Eye dashboard. When you go to there's the top section here, video search, right? So if I want to come up here and use one of these search terms, we can search for, like, let's say red Tesla, for example. So it's going to sit here. There's, I think, 80 something cameras on the account. It's going to search all 80 cameras. It's going to pull up a red Tesla. Let me refresh here. I might have waited too long here. There we go. So there's our red Tesla. And then if I want to search for, let's say, someone in a certain type of clothing, so we'll go red shirt with a handbag, for example, and get a little more specific. Now we're going to get, and it casts a wide net, right? So if I type in like red shirt handbag, it'll probably give you red shirts and handbags. But the idea here is, if I'm a customer and I know what I'm looking for, this is going to dramatically reduce the amount of time you're looking for stuff, right? Really, really cool stuff. And what's great about this being cloud hosted is you don't have to sell a particular kind of camera to offer these features. So like if you think about on our on-premise side on the NVRs, you may have to sell like an IntelliSearch camera to get some of these features, right? The brain power lives in the cloud. So what that means is if you want to use these kind of wow factor features to go and approach your existing install base, or new customers that may have gear already and they're just looking for a retrofit, you can pitch to them, even if it's analog in a lot of cases, right? Hey, we're going to swap your head end out. We're going to give you a bridge or a CMBR. You're going to pay us a license based on what you want, and then you just get this. You don't have to change anything about the hardware. It's a really attractive pitch. Another thing we wanted to just briefly show off was the vehicle surveillance package. This is something we've seen an uptick on RFPs, especially for, let's say like multifamily parking or, even like government agencies. We've had a lot of requests for this, but what it'll do is it'll archive descriptors on the actual vehicle. So you can see the make, the model, the color, and then obviously the license plate, right? So it'll archive that, and it will actually show which site within the system this vehicle passed through. So if you're looking for, let's say, a certain particular vehicle, you want to actually know kind of where they're going, right? You can do that, no problem. Something you can layer on top of this is, let's say, alerts, right? So again, schools is a big one, right? If someone shows up and they're not supposed to be there, we can actually generate an alert based on that license plate, and we can set a priority for it, right? So we can say, hey, MCX 8245, you're not supposed to be here. That's a priority 9 because we really don't want you to be here. This is where you showed up. We're going to send an alert based on that to whoever needs to be brought in the loop to go and get you out of there. There's one other thing you can do too, for any of you that are Brivo dealers, is you can actually set rules based on these alerts. So one thing you may have heard on the Brivo side is license plate as a credential. Okay, so what Eagle Eye is capable of doing is they can say, okay, hey, this plate is supposed to be here. It's on the list. Send a trigger to the Brivo system saying, hey, they're allowed to be here. Brivo grabs it, says, cool, let's let them in, unlocks the gate, and the car drives through. That's niche, right? I don't recommend you go try to push that on everybody, but wanted to give you an idea of like where things are going. Like Eagle Eye and Brivo together are solving some pretty complex problems in a pretty smooth way. And I would recommend anyone who wants a deep dive demo, just reach out to the team. We're happy to do it. We could spend a lot more time talking about this, obviously. So just reach out. So I kind of spoiled this a little bit, but obviously this is going to be integrated to Brivo, right? When it comes to video integration to Brivo, I feel pretty confident in saying the VMS is steps and leaps ahead. They work very, very well together. Full cloud integration. There's nothing you need to do other than sell a VMS system and sell a Brivo system and time together. That's it. It's really, really simple. On the Brivo side, they've also done a good job of working with the VMS in a smoother way. So you can create custom live view templates from VMS cameras in the Brivo environment now. So if you have any customers who are saying, I need my video and my access to work together, these two platforms make a ton of sense together. And especially if you're going up against, let's say, another cloud provider where they're kind of pitching a unified platform, this is going to be your play for sure. Another thing we can demo as well, right? So just reach out if you want a little bit more detail. So integration partners, this is probably one of, if not the most important slide, because this is going to help you cast virtually an unlimited net and go after a significant number of customer verticals, because Eagle Eye wants to work with as many technologies as they can, and they partner with best-in-class providers based on the whatever technology you're looking for, right? So we've got a couple called out here. There's dozens and dozens of them. Just know from a high level, if you get a request from a customer that says, I need my video system to work with this, this, and this types of technology, there's a really good chance we have a play there. Even if it's, let's say, like specialty analytics that are really niche for certain customer markets, right? Even if it's not offered natively on the VMS, because they are an open platform, you have a path to go and partner with another company to meet that requirement. And so, however crazy the customer request is, I've just been telling everybody, just send it to us, because there's a really, really good chance we're going to be able to make it work. Matt, is there anything else you want to cover on integration partners before we move on?
No, Bryce, great job.
Okay, so now we'll kind of get to the business side of things a little bit, right? So there's a lot of opportunities for RMRs, you would imagine, with the VMS. On kind of your, what we would call your typical installation, at minimum, you're going to have a subscription for each camera. There are additions that you can sell, professional and enterprise to get additional features. Most are going to be standard, right? But then you can also sell like archive data retention, right? So like every account comes with 10 gigabytes free. You can upgrade that if you'd like to. And when the customer archives that data, it stays in the cloud forever until they either delete it or replace it. So think about, insurance claims or people that want to have, for liability reasons, something just indefinitely stored in the cloud. You can do that, no problem. And obviously upselling that as a RMR opportunity for you. And then there's a significant number of what we call special features you can layer onto this, right? So we talked about a lot of these 911, LPR, the cellular plans, right? That's an opportunity for you. You sell one of those cabinet systems, you make some RMR margin on both the cellular plan and the management subscription. And then there are some actual speaker and intercom integrations too. Let's say you want to do some talk down to someone who's messing around where they shouldn't. You can sell that and you can get some RMR from that integration as well. So there's a lot that we could have put on this slide. This is probably like 20% max of what you can do with the VMS. But from a high level, just understand like the number of customers you're going to be able to attack with this is probably tenfold what you've been used to with VS for the past couple of years. Cool. So what we wanted to do throughout this whole partnership is make it as easy as possible for you to get started, right? So one of the trickiest parts of onboarding a new product, in my experience, has always been the first install, right? Making sure it goes as smooth as possible. Thankfully, Eagle Eye has a really solid program to help make sure that you're not just your first install, but really any install you want to put this on goes really, really smoothly, right? So they offer an implementation service where it's actually a four-step process, four-call process. They will make sure that your design is accurate. They will help you while you're doing the install with the actual configuration. They will do checks to make sure that based on the way you sold that project, things are working the way that they should. And then they'll loop back and just, later down the road, post-install, just make sure that everything looks good, right? So it's a very minimal cost, and it's tremendously valuable in avoiding, what could be a couple $1,000 mistake by making an incorrect assumption on the first install, right? So we will be putting this on pretty much every quote as an optional item. I strongly recommend you take advantage of this because it's an absolute no-brainer investment. Obviously for the customer itself, making sure that not just they understand how to use the system, but also there's nothing that is going to break down the road, right? Let's say they need 30 days local. Let's say it's a cannabis facility, right? They need local plus cloud storage. Well, if they don't have that because of a configuration issue, that's a major problem. So Eagle Eye will help you avoid those kinds of issues down the road. Cool. George, I think I'm going to kick it back to you for this one.
Great. Thanks, Bryce. So we've tried to make applying and activating an Eagle Eye relationship as simple as possible for you, right? So it literally is three very simple steps. One, almost everything with Alibi, it starts with just a conversation with your dedicated account manager, right? Call our sales team if you don't have one. We walk you through a very simple qualification process. Once you've applied, right? we actually take that, we work with Eagle Eye to set you up with Eagle Eye, or set your profile up with Eagle Eye, right? So we do that with you and for you. After that, we'll generate an email to you that notifies you of that registration and gives you a link to complete the reseller agreement from Eagle Eye. It's basically Eagle Eye terms, right, on Alibi paper. So similar to having access to the same solutions and support team with Eagle Eye, we have the same terms, right, in terms of expectations of you and terms for reselling the solution. So completing that really completes the cycle, and then we go into activation. So that's the next slide. And by the way, that application process can take minutes, right? If you're active online, that's a back and forth that 10 to 15 minutes we can get done for you. When it comes to activation, we really work with you on both sides. So first, Eagle Eye takes you through an introductory call. They help introduce you to their partner portal and make sure you're comfortable with managing your solution and your clients on their portal. They give you access to Eagle Eye University. So there are countless modules for training, self-training, that are both sales related, tech related, and feature related. They help you set up your demo kit, right? And activate your demos for your customers. And finally, they provide you direct access to a resource center where you can go to leverage all of their great content. At the same time, Alibi will work directly with you, right? To help set up your dealer portal, right? Where you'll be managing orders and customers and things like that. We'll give you access to price lists on alibi.com. We will share with you a reseller guide. So sort of tips, tricks, the how-to, right? Be a reseller. We'll give you access to sales materials. And finally, Alibi Arsenal, hopefully you're all familiar with that. It's our marketing program that really helps build your business or this category for you. We take all of these resources, we brand those resources for you. So when you're facing a customer, you're promoting your brand, right? We're helping you look professional, helping you build your brand, doing a lot of that heavy lifting in creating the content that you need to be successful. So we'll introduce you to Arsenal and give you access to all of those tools. Finally, what's next? So this is the first of a series of webinars that we'll be conducting to help you understand both the capabilities of the solution, how to sell the solution, and even the process, right, of selling and leveraging our team to create quotes, right, to place orders and to support those orders. So that's coming soon in April, right? But first, we will be at ISC West. So if you're traveling to ISC West, big trade show in Vegas, right, we'll be there from April 2nd to the 4th. You see our booth number here. I'm sure we'll communicate this to you often, right? We encourage you to join us. We will have live demos of the Eagle Eye solution there. We'll also be running regular training sessions on Eagle Eye, so join us for one of those. And finally, thank you all for attending today. We try to keep these to 45 minutes and we're right at time. We really appreciate your time. We are very excited in bringing to you, right, this super powerful solution. We are very thankful to Eagle Eye for the partnership. This is the first of its kind, right? So we are literally the first partner that has been approved to bring the Eagle Eye branded solution to you. And we're extremely excited to work with Eagle Eye to bring you access to all of their resources and their solutions. Thank everyone for your questions and answers. We were able to answer a few of them in the Q&A tool. We answered a few of those live. We're going to take all of those and publish them back to you over the next day. So we'll make sure we answer any questions we didn't on this call.
George, I want to answer one of them real quick. Just Clayton had asked, will there be a recording of this anywhere? you can access after this ends? Yes. So we will wrap this up and put it on our YouTube channel. So Clayton, we will send that to you, and everyone else who didn't have a question answered will reach out to you very, very quickly on those.
Great. Thank you, Bryce. Thank you, Matt. Thank all of you for joining us this morning.